Today we're going to find volume of a prism. When we find volume, we need to remember the formula is area of the base, which is this capital B is represented, times the height. Some students like to remember it as length times width times height, which is the case with a formula such as this. So looking at this problem, the area of the base in this case is the length times width. Now remember, in different shapes, the formulas can be slightly different. So we just multiply 5 and 5/10 times 4, and then I'm going to multiply both of those by the height of 4. Then we can go in any order. If you like, you can go from left to right, but now that we have all multiplication, it might be beneficial to multiply 4 times 4 first, which is 16, and then multiply that times 5 and 5/10. Remember that we have one decimal, so then we can just multiply, remembering our decimal rules. 6 times 5 is 30, 5 times 1 plus 3 is 8, and we notice that we're going to get the same thing here, 80, only it's in a different space. Add, and we get 880. Don't forget to move that decimal one spot. So that gives me a volume of 88 cubic feet. It's always feet cubed when we have volume. And that's because we're actually filling up the space. So here we have a triangular prism. When we're finding the volume for a triangular prism, again, we have the area of the base times height. Now remember that area of the base changes the formula when we have a triangular prism. So in this case, of course, triangle is half of a parallelogram, or half of a rectangle in this case, because it's 90 degrees. So we have half of the base times height, and then multiply that by the height 2. So we can call that height 1 and height 2 if it makes it easier for you. And we multiply the 4 numbers together. It's exactly like finding the volume of a rectangular prism with one extra step, and that step is to divide the answer by 2. So let's get started. We have 4 times 9, and we need to cut that in half for the base. And then we multiply that by the height. So when I plug in my number, I get half of 4 times 9 times 6. And then we can go from left to right, or really in any order that we like. In this case, I think it's easier to go left to right. So we have half of 4, which is 2, times 9 times 6. 2 times 9 is 18. And then we can multiply 18 times 6, which will give us 108. So the volume of this triangular prism is 108 meters cubed. And that's how you find the volume of a rectangular prism as well as a triangular prism. Really what's important is to note the difference in the two formulas.